I'm just gonna get this done and grind it out. Oh, I gotta do that tomorrow. Hi guys. Welcome back. I guess you guys will be seeing this first. Yeah. Check out my new shirt, y'all. Like, I don't talk about him that much anymore. I love you.
Don't worry. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
You. We are up and down. Alright, welcome back to our F1 video. This is the Miami Grand Prix recap, and boys, let me tell you, it's juicy. It is loaded, and it's almost loaded as a baked potato. It's just loaded with information. So hang on tight because you're gonna enjoy it. Anyways, so the recap. FP1, Oscar, Charles, and Max. That was our leaderboard situation there.
FP1 was really where I thought, you know what? I am set for this weekend because that was my top 3. That was my top 3 right there. Oscar, Charles, and Max. I felt really good at this point. I was like, yes, we can cook. We can cook, guys. We can cook. It was downhill from there.
Yeah. Look, after sprint, I knew I was screwed because my top panel was not showing up at all.
Got more points than I did this week.
But then the race proved otherwise. Other than the fact I really should have said Oscar, but it's fine. And then our sprint qualifying was Kimi, Oscar, and Lando. Kimi was a shocker. He proved himself. Honestly, was super impressed. I literally was like, Kimi? Okay,
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. So congrats to him for that. He's probably one of the best rookies I've seen in a hot second.
He's also the youngest pole sitter ever.
That's true. So congrats.
Well, I mean, at least for the sprint, he didn't beat Vettel's record. I think it was Vettel's record.
I don't think so.
For a regular race, I thought it was.
I honestly can't remember. I have to go back and
I
look.
saw a graphic and I swear it was Vettel, but I'm not 100%.
I think it's Vettel, but
okay. I thought you were disagreeing with me on that. I was
no. I think it is Vettel, but I can't remember. And then the sprint results was Lando, Oscar, and Lewis. Lewis kind of being a shocker for a second because I was like, okay. Charles didn't even make it into the starting grid.
That's when I knew my weekend was going south.
Yeah. Again, this weekend is full of just a lot. We had Carlos with a puncture, Liam into Fernando, resulting in Fernando in the wall, which forced a virtual safety car. Max 10-second penalty for unsafe release into Kimi, had him finish P17. When I watch that, you guys don't understand. I'm watching it and then I see it happen and I'm like, that was a very unsafe situation, and I get the 10-second penalty. I get it.
But guys, it was so chaotic. So first things, all of this, I kid you not, happened within a span of a minute or two. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because first I'm stressed out because Lando's in first, right? McLaren had just pitted Oscar to put on dry tires because, the track was really wet. Like I said, the weather shouldn't have had much factor into this weekend, which kudos to myself for knowing that. But still, I was watching because I was like, oh, we got a yellow. The track's under caution. What's happening? And then next thing I know, Max unsafe release into Kimi, and I'm like, hold up, who was that? I was watching the yellow flag go green, back to yellow, and then Liam hits Fernando, and he's in the wall, and we got a safety car, and I'm like, what? Just happened? And then I was freaking out because then they called Lando in the next lap, and it was like, is he gonna make it to the line before Oscar is, or is Oscar gonna make it first? Who's gonna do it? But thankfully there was enough buffer room for Lando to get first, and it was nerve-wracking. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
Didn't also Carlos went into the wall, like, he nudged it, and didn't he, like, pop a tire?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the puncture.
The puncture, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
couldn't remember. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
took
yeah,
he
yeah,
took it too
yeah,
tight to the corner because he was behind Stroll, I think?
yeah.
Around, where Max took the Bullard out last. That's
Yeah.
where Carlos did his puncture in the sprint.
It was an interesting race, all for qualifying to produce Max in first, Lando in second, and Kimi again in the top 3 with third. I am so impressed with this kid. I literally he impresses me every time he races because he's so young. He just came out of F2, and honestly, with rookies, you expect them to do like all the other rookies are doing and just kind of have like a good season, but it's not their best. But Kimi, I mean, Mercedes did really good picking Kimi to be in the second seat. That's all I have to say. Points wise, race wise, and I honestly, because of his last year coming in and doing races with F1, you weren't sure how he was going to do this season. And just for him to come in and be like, honestly impressive for a first year rookie, congrats.
Or even how the Mercedes was gonna perform this year, like,
Yeah,
I would not have predicted for them to be ahead of Ferrari
yeah,
and Red Bull,
honestly,
for that matter.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So this is a good season for Mercedes. Surprised I'm even saying that, but
You and me both.
congrats. And Lewis was knocked out in Q2.
Yeah, this is his first time getting knocked out in Q2 with Ferrari, not ever. It'd be kinda awkward if it was ever. I mean, it was a little bit surprising considering he finished the sprint 3rd,
Yeah,
and
and then qualifying
then
out in Q2.
yeah.
He's having a rough season. But he did choose to go to Ferrari, so that's all I'm saying. And then here's the race result. What happened? I'm telling you, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Oscar was the winner, so congrats to him. I mean, I already kind of knew he was gonna win, but like, congrats to him. I mean, with him and Lando, it was either a give or take who was gonna win, and it was Oscar. So congrats to him. And then we have Lando in second and George in third. All 4 DNFs were rookies. We have Liam, Gabby, Ollie, and Jack. I think wasn't Ollie who was out first? Was it Ollie, Jack, Liam, then Gabby?
That's a
Yeah.
No, I think it was Jack. I think Jack went out first, and then
Uh-huh.
Ollie
Then
had
Ollie.
an engine failure, and then
Yeah.
Gabby also had an engine
Yeah.
failure, and then Liam hit Fernando again, I think.
So there was a 32-second gap from Lando to George at the end of the race. Honestly, the gap just kept getting bigger, but I think that the gap kind of started at like a 14-second gap due to like, was it a safety car or something happened? It was
I would say
a pit stop, something happened, and
I don't
George
think we had a
got,
safety car during the main race.
well, it wasn't a safety car, it was a virtual safety car. Did we have a virtual safety car? We had multiple virtual safety cars.
Yes, because of the engine failure and they
Yeah.
couldn't get around back to the pit.
I'm like,
Yes,
I know I ain't going crazy right now.
that's my bad.
Back me up. Um, so yeah, that gap was pretty big. It was kind of reminding me of the gap between Lando and Max. Was it in
Singapore?
Singapore? Yes. So I haven't seen a gap like that in a hot minute. It's always Lando. I
Well,
swear.
I would just like to say Lando started out with like almost an 8 or 9 second gap to Oscar, and he
Mhm.
managed to close that down
It's like a 3 to 4 second gap.
4 second gap, yeah, by the end of the race. No, it would have been 3 because Oscar
Mhm.
said 35 seconds between him and George. So,
Yeah. So congrats to them. That was a good race. Um, Max and George were fighting the whole time towards the end of the race, trying to get in front of each other, I fear. So their gap was pretty small, pretty much throughout the end of the race. It just was like a tight little gap there.
yeah, but I don't think the hard tires were really what you wanted to be on.
No.
And I feel like George, I don't know why, but the Mercedes car did not respond to the medium tires very well, in my opinion, because that gap to Lando just kept opening up and George's
Yeah.
car could not do jack.
No. So, speaking of Max and George, I can recall the text I sent him when I heard this little message go out over Red Bull's radio. And I was like, what kind of blackmail do they have on George right now to go out and say, give it a 5 seconds to George? Why, you may ask? After the race, Red Bull lodged a petition that George didn't lift under yellows. I said this was crazy. I said they're grasping at straws and Red Bull's having a tantrum and trying to throw a fit to get what they want because they couldn't win the race. And as I was correct, the verdict was no further action needed because that was a crazy pull. When they said this over the radio, I texted it and I was like, what? That's grasping at straws. I'm just gonna leave that there for you. I would like to know y'all's opinion on that situation and what you thought when you heard that little saying go over the radio because I was just like, what kind of blackmail they got on George right now? Did I miss something? I was like, I think George has had honestly a pretty smooth race this whole time. And I swear, Max, like Red Bull's always going after George.
Well, not just George. Let's
No,
be real here, but
no, they're going after everyone. I swear, every other second they're like, he went too far. That was a lift. He went over the line. Um, oh, I don't think he slowed down fast enough for the safety car. I'm just like, yo, chill, take a breather. It's like the FIA. Like, calm down. Um, Speaking of team orders, and just little comment, Alex Album ignoring the team orders and passing Carlos. Honestly, why not? Alex has been kind of sassy on the racetrack lately, and I'm actually kind of here for it.
you know
You
what?
know?
I think that they are doing to Alex what they did to Logan last season.
Yes. Which is crazy because Alex has been doing really good this season.
I would
I mean,
argue he's still the number one driver. He
yeah,
finished in the top 5. Honestly, I thought that he had enough pace in the car to catch up to Max, but that didn't overly happen. But the
I'm
gap
not.
did kind of go down. I'm not gonna lie. I was really
Yeah,
hoping that Max and George were gonna crash into each other and
he
give
kept
Alex
saying
the
it.
third. And I was like, please, please.
Like, I would love to respect that, but I have George in my top 3, so I can't say that. Even point. I would have loved an Alex win too.
That
But
was never
yeah,
gonna happen though. They can't compete with McLaren.
no. And then Lewis's radios. Lewis is done. He
He's
has
over it.
had enough. It's giving I hate my team. I I regret my decision here.
I mean, when
So
your car can only perform in sprint races,
it's not a great look for ya. Not well, Lewis. You're fine. It's just the team. The team has always had an issue for a while now with their cars. Um, and it's saying a lot that Williams is pretty kind of neck to neck with Ferrari right now. Honestly, is Williams doing better than Ferrari? I haven't checked. I only know like the top 3. Anyways, Yuki had a 5-second penalty for pit lane speeding. Almost lost 10th place points. Finished to Isaac Hadjar. I mean, it happened.
torn between what I want there.
I know. I love Yuki. I love Isaac. I miss them being together and filming their funny little TikTok.
Yeah, you're telling me.
I miss it so much. It's
Give
not
us
the
more.
same.
Give us more content of Yuki and Isaac. Please, we don't need Liam.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
need Liam.
No.
He
Give us.
brings the vibe down.
I miss Yuki. They were so perfect together.
They
They give
were.
off so much good comedic relief. Like, it's just, I miss it. I miss
Can't
it.
wait for us to start doing that.
Speaking of Yuki, happy early birthday. Because my birthday is like, what, a day before yours? I'm correct. So happy birthday month, my dude. Also, Ollie, congrats. I just had to put that out there because, why not? Speaking of Yuki's birthday, that's like the first thing I talked about on our first ever podcast.
Yes, because you wanted to bring him a cake.
I
And
did,
that
and
was the name of our first episode. Cake with Yuki
Easter egg dinner.
Tsunoda.
I still want to bake him a cake.
So, Red Bull, if you're watching,
I'm a big Yuki fan.
you have a really good opportunity here, especially after some of the things that we're gonna talk about.
Please. I'll bake a beautiful cake. Other news, Cadillac event at the race, no hype whatsoever.
Yeah, we watched the preview for it together, 'cause, it was on what was it? It was on Instagram or something, and we were like, "What the heck is even happening here?"
It was giving Star Wars, and I don't know if that was what they were going for, but even that, it was like it gave
It's
us
weird.
absolutely everything but nothing at the same time,
Yeah,
if you get my drift. And I was really expecting maybe something more there,
something a little bit more hype. Yeah.
and there wasn't. Mick Schumacher and his manager were at the Cadillac event. Little tidbit there. I did hear, like, I heard that Checo was supposed to be there, but I didn't see anything of
I
him.
saw one thing, but it wasn't like I wasn't overly convinced it was him.
Yeah. So I'll just leave that there. If you guys know more information for some reason, let us know. Especially in the comments. Yuki did a lot of press before the race. A video of him and Jason, the Ween, plus XQC.
That was the one where he was eating the apple on the sim, and then he
Yeah.
beat XQC with one hand around the entire track.
And then the video of him trying food with Justin Jefferson, especially the Twinkie.
You know, Yuki and Justin Jefferson, well, that wasn't the only crossover.
What's the
Because
other one?
who did he teach the gritty to?
Did he teach it to Oscar? You're joking. And it was still that bad?
Yep, for those of you who don't know, Oscar, please insert the clip here. Oscar did in fact attempt to gritty after winning the race because they bet on it. I've never been so embarrassed of someone that's my age doing something like that. And Fernando Alonso did the gritty better than he did.
I saw that.
He's in his 40s.
And I know you guys probably saw it on TikTok. I meant to mute my voice, but you can hear me laugh in the background. Cause I'm like, I didn't know he was gonna do it. So yeah, that was golden, and it made me laugh. So thank you, Oscar. Was not prepared for that. Then post race interviews, apparently.
We have a lot to talk about with this one. But
Did he?
yeah, so people aren't happy with Lando. Shock for him saying stuff about Max. But like at this point, Max should have gotten the penalty for taking him off road, especially from the view of one of the
Yes.
other onboards.
I
I
agree.
don't know how they didn't do anything, and the fact that McLaren didn't come out and do anything for it, like, Christian Horner would have done it for Max.
Oh yeah, for
Like he did
sure.
for like when the thing last race with Oscar. Like why is McLaren not doing that? But we'll get to that in a hot second. But yeah, and then he was just like saying this stuff about Max and whatnot. And then Oscar got asked what's harder, passing Max or keeping Lando behind him.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then they spotted, well, I don't know. Have you seen the interactions from Lando's dad and Zach? Have you seen those videos?
I have, and honestly, I have to side with Lando's dad on this one here, because if my son was getting screwed over by a team he signed with who was fully supporting his goal to win, driver standing, and they're freaking him over, I would be a little salty too, shaking hands with him.
Well, not even that. Like, even their post-race picture that they took, Oscar's in front of Lando. Lando's not even in it.
No.
And then they posted that everywhere, and, I was on LinkedIn, and I saw it on LinkedIn because I follow them on LinkedIn, and literally majority of the comments were like, "Where's Lando? Where's LN4?" Like, and I was like, "You're joking. Why'd you not tell Oscar to retake it again?"
Right? I mean, you guys kind of know my opinion on the situation. I am here to support Oscar on this journey. He's doing really great this season, and it's not Oscar's fault that Lando's getting booted out, kind of, in a way. It's really the team's fault in this way. Clearly, something's happening behind doors, and I really wish I could be a fly on that wall because I support both Oscar and Lando, but it's definitely they've chosen Oscar this season, and I don't know how that happened or why it happened. There's definitely some Mark Webber influence in this situation because Mark was Oscar. He was the one letting Sebastian take the wins while he was having to sit on the sidelines. And maybe Mark is like, don't be like I was. Take the lead. Don't let Lando be like Sebastian and keep winning because I don't know, clearly something's happening and I don't know. Yeah, you go, because
I have a very interesting theory. Did you notice that Andrea Stella seems to have changed his mind and is praising Lando this year and not so much Oscar? Whereas Zach has flip-flopped and he's helping Oscar and not so much Lando.
have seen this and I really am interested in this theory
Okay, you want
because
me to continue?
yes,
Because
I
there's
do.
more. So, theory is Zach wants to sign Max. Well, they just signed Oscar to this big deal. That means Lando's gotta leave. And so with Zach pushing Lando out, where the sponsors are gonna follow Lando, they're not gonna stay for Oscar. And on top of that, Stella sees Lando vital to helping the car improve. Without Lando, they can't improve the car. Why do you think he's the one closing down the gaps to Oscar, and Oscar can't seem to necessarily close the gap to Lando?
Interesting.
They need
I
Lando to stay to help the car
yeah.
get better. And if Zach doesn't backtrack, I think Lando's out of there as soon as this season ends. And I think he could go to Mercedes, which would explain George talking to Red Bull. Because if Lando Norris becomes available, teams are going to try and sign him. He's
Yeah.
not going to Red Bull because Marco would never let that happen.
No.
But Mercedes, 100% that could totally happen.
And I would be down for that. I would be down to see how Toto puts Lando in that car and sees how Lando does, being kind of the lead instead of this season being the side character, if that makes sense, like the second driver. I would be down for that because I do like Mercedes. I like Toto. I like his view, his plan for his drivers. I like how he's been doing with Kimi. So seeing Lando go to Mercedes would be honestly a pretty good venture and a pretty good. I would like to see that happen.
Yeah, but not only that, apparently Stella and Zach aren't getting along well.
I mean,
So
I could have told you that.
Andrea could potentially leave as well, and they could both end up. Well, I don't know if Stella would go to Mercedes necessarily, but I don't know. Is Fred Vasseur under hot water and Stella reunites with Ferrari?
Ooh, that wouldn't surprise me either because Fred has not been doing great. Love you, Fred. I really do. But the team is not doing great. So would Stella make the team better? That's a good question. Yeah.
One last thing, because you probably don't know this. Rumor has it Jack Doohan has had his last race in F1.
Oh yeah.
Franco Colapinto is going to be in Imola.
I'm excited to see where that goes to because I also think Franco Colapinto is a great driver. He's great. I wouldn't say he's the best, but he had some great races.
He crashed more than Logan did last year.
He had a great spirit.
He's not gonna do jack. He's gonna hurt Alpine even more than what Duhan already is. And I feel like they actively screwed Duhan over this past
yeah.
weekend. So, you know.
You know what? You're right.
Just my take though, but rumor has it he's more than likely over, and I feel like 6 races is definitely not enough to prove yourself. Like, look at
Yeah.
Yuki in the second Red Bull.
So where would Jack go? It's a good question. Fun fact, if you guys didn't know, Danny Ricciardo is Jack's mentor. Just a tidbit there because I found that out the other day. If you guys have any opinions, any thoughts on that, or even your own theories, let us know in the comments. We would like to know our juicy theories. Like this video just because. Let us know if we need to add more things into this video, even though we try and keep it under 30 minutes. Please. We try. We talk a lot. Please subscribe so you can see more videos. We have our podcast video coming out soon, so keep an eye out for that. It should be out Wednesday. And then we have our Champions League video coming out the end of this week, so keep a lookout for that. And if you want to keep a lookout for that, or you want to be notified when it does happen, post notifications, bestie. They're amazing. And then check our description, our links in the description below for our other social media pages. We have Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, the whole shebang. Go check them out. We leave our opinions, we leave our favorite videos, and we just love posting because why not? So yeah, I hope you guys like this video.